How many of you have heard about the violin, the Stradivarius? Anyone? It is made out of really nice wood, isn't it? Unaffordable. Huh. I watched a show this week, well, part of a show. Enough that I was like, I didn't get to see the whole thing about the Stradivarius, but it was enough that I was peaked. I don't like violins. Just let's get that out there, okay? I don't like them. I don't like the sound they make. I don't really like the music. Maybe it's not that I don't like it. I don't appreciate it. That's what it comes down to, I think. But there was something about this show that caught my attention that I've actually had to go and look some stuff up about it, because I'm like, wait a second. Like, what is it about this? What's so special about it? And I came across this article that spoke to another piece of what the show was talking about. And this whole thing started with a cascade of weird events. Teresa and I were playing a game that Crystal White's bought us. It was something called Over or Under or something like that. It was a strange game. It's you basically make up facts or something. I think you're supposed to guess what the facts are, and then it tells you what the fact is at the end. But it feels like you're making stuff up, right? Well, this whole thing began because it talked about this little ice age. And so I'm like, little ice age? Okay, that had to be like thousands of years ago. I mean, we've not had an ice age in quite a while, type thing. Turns out the little ice age is like from 1400 to 1700 or 1750 or something like that. That's not right. If you want to hear about the little ice age, you're going to have to get more detail than that. I'm giving you a broad picture, okay? But anyway, the trees that this Stradivarius, that they were talking about, this very specific one, it's called the Messiah. Have you heard of this one? It's a very specific one that was made. Probably is unaffordable. Like, this guy is the best of these things. But this one was made from trees that were done. They're saying that this was built from trees that had gone through this little ice age. And it's why it's so special. Now, how many of us know anything about trees growing in cold weather? Does anyone? They don't grow fast. It is much slower. It is much slower. And what happens when trees grow slower?
The wood is denser.
Yeah, the rings are super close. And if you've ever had the split wood, if you see something with a lot of rings to it, you're like, oh, really? This is going to be bad. Especially if you hear a and it's really wet yet. Then you're like, oh no. Where's the powered splitter at? Sometimes. Anyway, this stuff, the tree that this thing was made out of, the wood that this thing was made out of, grew during one of these seasons of really slow growth. And so it was truly, this is what they're surmising anyway, that this thing came out of a tree that was very, very dense, and it made it have such a higher quality sound than what other violins could be made of, if it's from another type of tree or another type of season. Because not only did the guy who made this is how much I don't appreciate these. I don't know who made the thing, aside from, I'm guessing his name is Stradivarius. But there were many who were able to make very, very high quality violins from this season because of what the trees had gone through. And as I'm listening to this song, this is all coming back to mind of, give me a song to sing. And it's like, sometimes God sends us through these seasons, doesn't he? Where it feels, we always think of hell being hot, don't we? But boy, it sure seems bleak in the least. And we don't feel like we're growing much, or we feel like the growth that we are experiencing is like, why does this have to be so hard? But I think it makes, when the song that God gives us to sing, I think it provides a higher quality of music. And it's tough. I get that. I don't like hard seasons of life any more than anyone else. I'm not one of those people that think, okay, here we go. Let's make life more difficult. What can I do to make it harder today? I don't think that way. I don't know many people that do. But there are some of us who will go there, but ultimately, when we see what God is leading us through, we don't always know what these situations are going to create, what these circumstances will do in the short term, but we can trust that God has good in store for us, that he's not doing these things by mistake. And that as he makes our lives beautiful, may we remember that he's the one responsible for what's going on, and our job's to be responsive. We can only do so much, right? He will get his will done. He invites us to be part of that, absolutely. And because of what he does in our lives, and what he does is beautiful, we can trust that even in hard circumstances, something's going on that's he's bringing us through situations that are preparing us for what's ahead. Now, I don't know what's ahead for us. I don't know what's ahead for you. I wish I knew what was ahead for me. I was thinking of the ways that I've been trained and the ways that others have taught me to help people set goals and that type of thing. And this question of, where do you see yourself in 10 years? That's a fairly common question. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? And I'm further and further convinced that it's often inconsequential. It's like, you may as well be throwing a rock, trying to skip it across the lake and project where that thing's going to end up. If you've ever done that, sometimes you'll see, and the rock will go exactly where you thought it would go, but most of the time it's like, or sometimes you just get this sucker's going to go really far, and you throw it, and it hits and goes, and it's done, right? We've had those circumstances in life. We've had thoughts that it's like, this is going to be great, this is going to go incredibly well, this is going to be wonderful, it's going to be life-giving, and then all of a sudden, it's like someone just kicked you in the gut. What is going on? We've got a passage today that, in many ways, has the same feel to it. But before we get there, we need to play a little game. Ready? You love games? Okay, can you come here? Good. I'm glad. We played this game over at Crystal and Craig White's house the other week, and they loved it so much. You know what this is? What's that? The reading one? Yeah, Mad Gab. She loves this game. It's fun. Here, can you read these out loud so everyone can hear what they are? Can you read these cards? Thank you.
I pillow fizz sigh.
So if you know what that is, if you know the phrase, go ahead and say it. No, not quite.
I pillow fizz sighs. And sigh.
Nope. Nope, not. Say it again.
I pillow fizz sigh.
I pillow fizz high.
Say it really
What's
fast.
that? Oh, I thought you said it.
Say it very
And this
fast.
is so hard because sometimes I know what the answer is, so I hear what you're saying, and I'm like, oh my goodness, you're right there.
Say it really
I pillow. I pillow his eye. Okay, we'll move. Apple of his eye. Okay? I know, right? Okay, can you do this one?
Abe his nade grad.
Abe his nace scarred. Abe his nace scarred. Abe his nace scarred. Abe his nace scarred.
Ah!
Abe his nace scarred.
Yes! Look at you! You got it!
Oh, yeah? I'll tough arms way. 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 Out of harm's way.
Yes, out of harm's way. These are fun, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, I like it. We'll give one to somebody else.
You are okay. Greg's gonna get this one. The answer is on the back, so you can't show everyone.
Raw node McDonald.
Ronald McDonald. There we go. Who wants to do this one? Crystal wants to read it. Yeah, Crystal wants to do it.
And knife read hour. And knife read hour.
An Eiffel Tower.
And knife read hour.
An Eiffel Tower.
An ivory tower. There you go. And then this is what most of you are gonna feel like. Here you go, Donna. Here.
Just leave me out of it.
Just leave me out of it. That's right. That's right. All right. Well, that's what do you like about that game? Yeah, it fires the neurons a little bit. Okay, that's good. Yeah.
My problem with that whole game is I'll try real hard the first couple times, and then I'll just check out. All right.
Well, that can happen. That happens in a lot of life too.
That is a great example of what I've been through this week.
Yeah.
This is what I'm getting, and I know God's got something else entirely in store, but I'm saying each of those words by itself, and it's making absolutely no sense to me.
Yeah. You're like, okay, God, I'm saying it. I'm doing it. I'm not getting it. And not that he's playing games with our lives, but in many ways he's like, you're right there. You're right there. you're right on you're on the cusp of this thing. Like, just say it again. Yeah. And oftentimes when we're the one saying it, seldom are we the one that hear it and are able to actually say what's on the back side of the card. I mean, that can be very difficult because, again, we've talked about this. When it's your issue, it's right here, right? But when it's others, you can see it from a completely different perspective. And it's not that it's good or bad or right or wrong. It's just, it's different. And we need to help people through that. We're going to read today in John. I don't think that's right. Luke, yes. Thank you. The other John, spelled L-U-K-E, starting at verse 13. Oh, this is fun. This is like a whole new Mad game right here, right? Luke, let's all try this again. Let me try this again. Luke 24:13 to 35. I know, right? That's what I'm thinking too. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm having trouble even just spitting out the address. I can't imagine reading the contents. Luke 24, starting at 13. I did, apparently. Now that same day, two of them were going to a village called Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem. They were talking with each other about everything that had happened. As they talked and discussed these things with each other, Jesus himself came up and walked along with them. But they were kept from recognizing him. He asked them, "What are you discussing together as you walk along?" They stood still, their faces downcast. One of them, named Cleopas, asked him, "Are you the only visitor to Jerusalem and do not know the things that have happened in these last days?" "What things?" he asked. "About Jesus of Nazareth," they replied. "He was a prophet, powerful in word and deed before God and all the people. The chief priest and our rulers handed him over to be sentenced to death, and they crucified him. But we had hoped that he was the one who was going to redeem Israel. And what is more, it is the third day since all this took place. In addition, some of our women amazed us. They went to the tomb early this morning, but did not find his body. They came and told us that they had seen a vision of angels who said he was alive. When some of our companions went to the tomb, they found it just as the women had said." They weren't crazy, they actually found it that way. "But him they did not see." He said to them, "How foolish you are, and how slow of heart to believe all that the prophets had spoken. Did not the Christ have to suffer these things, then enter his glory?" And beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he explained to them what was said in the scriptures concerning himself. As they approached the village to which they were going, Jesus acted as if he were going further. But they urged him strongly, "Stay with us, for it is nearly evening, and the day is almost over." So he went in and stayed with them. When he was at the table with them, he took bread, gave thanks, broke it, and began to give it to them. Then their eyes were opened, and they recognized him. And he disappeared from their sight. They asked each other, "Were not our hearts burning within us while he talked with us on the road and opened the scriptures to us?" They got up and returned at once to Jerusalem. There they found the 11 and those with them assembled together and saying, "It is true, the Lord has arisen and has appeared to Simon." Then the two told what had happened on the way and how Jesus was recognized by them when he broke the bread. Sometimes the answer is just right in front of you, isn't it? And you just don't see it. Just like in our game. You're hearing the answer, and there were countless times, even in the little time that we played, that I'm like, "Oh, you're right there. You're saying it. You don't even know you are. You're saying it." And Jesus shows up to a couple of his disciples as they're walking on the road who are they're befuddled. What do we do with this? And they explain their situation, in which they're like, "Jesus, what is it that you don't understand?" They don't know that it's Jesus, right? They just think it's some random guy who's coming up to them, a visitor, the only one in Jerusalem that doesn't know what's going on. So they educate him of what has gone down. And that's literally what's happening here. And we find it funny, right? It is funny. These guys are telling Jesus all about what happened to Jesus. As if he doesn't know. They're taking a walk. When do you take a walk? They were traveling. When do you take a walk? Okay. When you're bored? Yeah. For us, taking a walk is kind of a luxury thing, right? I mean, we do it if we have time, or we do it because, we want to go somewhere and don't feel like driving, or many times it's because we want to, right? Their situation, they're walking somewhere because that's the equivalent of getting in the car and going somewhere that you have to go, okay? This is different than us taking a walk. When you're going somewhere, though, what is it that happens when you're going there? When you're on your way to work, when you're driving to work or driving to school or on your way to wherever it is you're going to for the task at hand, when you're on your way, what do you do? Okay, you're getting ready for what's going to happen. Blank. Okay, so you start thinking, that's when you begin to think what's going on, okay? And you blank out. Yeah. That's exciting.